They said the villa was cursed, that in the fog-covered countryside of Bengal, an old Victorian mansion stood frozen in time. Bhaskar Villa. The locals whispered tales of a hound, fiercely loyal to its master. They said that when the master died, the hound never stopped guarding the house, its spirit forever bound to the decaying walls. In the dead of night, they claimed you could still hear its low growl, a promise of eternal vigilance. It was on a crisp morning that I, Detective Arianla, arrived with my trusted assistant, Rafiq. Our vintage car crunched over the gravel, stopping before a rusty gate that groaned in protest. A dusty nameplate, barely legible, read Bhaskar Villa, 1896. The air was thick with history and a profound sense of sorrow. Rafiq, ever the pragmatist but unnerved by the local legends, fidgeted beside me. "Sir," he began, his voice a nervous whisper, "the villagers swear it's a ghost. They say they hear a dog's howl every single night, but there's no dog in this village. Not for miles." I stepped out of the car, my eyes fixed on the imposing structure. The mist clung to the gables like a shroud. "Remember, Rafiq," I said, my voice calm but sharp, "ghosts don't haunt places. People do. And it's our job to find out who." But as I looked at the villa, a flicker of something more than just human intrigue stirred within me. What was that sound they heard every night? We were greeted at the door by Mrs. Dutter, the villa's caretaker. She was as much a relic as the house itself, her face a roadmap of time and worry. Her hands trembled slightly as she lit an oil lamp, casting long, dancing shadows across the dusty family portraits that lined the hallway. The eyes of the past seemed to watch our every move. "It's been 20 years, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the creaking floorboards. 20 years since the master died. His hound, Shiro, was buried in the backyard. But every night, she paused, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and grief. Every night, I still hear its chain dragging across the corridor." I looked at Rafiq, who had gone pale. The story was compelling, woven with the kind of detail that blurs the line between myth and memory. "We'll stay tonight," I announced, my decision made. "I want to hear it too." Just then, a flash of lightning illuminated the hall, and for a split second, I saw the determination reflected in the glass of a portrait my own. As midnight descended, the villa transformed. The silence was heavier, charged with anticipation. Armed with lanterns, Rafiq and I began our exploration. The flickering light played tricks on our eyes, making the cracked walls seem to breathe. Dust motes danced in the beams like tiny, forgotten souls. Suddenly, Rafiq gasped, his hand gripping my arm. "Sir, look," he stammered, his voice trembling. He pointed the lantern towards the floor. There, in the thick layer of dust, were paw prints. But they weren't just prints. They were wet, as if something had just walked through a puddle and padded silently through the hall. They led from the main corridor straight up the grand staircase. "Stay close," I commanded, my own heart thudding against my ribs. "Something wants us to follow." The prints were fresh, Impossible. There was no water source nearby, no explanation for their sudden appearance. This was no longer just a case. It was an invitation. We followed the trail of wet paw prints up the winding staircase, our footsteps echoing in the vast emptiness. The air grew colder with each step. The prints led us down a long, dark hallway to a single door at the very end, the master's bedroom. As we approached, the door, which had been firmly shut, began to creak open on its own, revealing a pitch-black room beyond. Taking a deep breath, we stepped inside. The room was frozen in time, a mausoleum of a lifelong past. As our lantern light swept across the chamber, it landed on a large, ornate bookshelf. And then, with a low groan of ancient wood, the bookshelf slid to the side, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, the air was stagnant and thick with the smell of earth and decay. Our light fell upon a heartbreaking sight. The old, brittle bones of a large dog still wrapped in heavy, rusted chains. Lying beside the remains was a small, leather-bound diary. My hands were steady as I picked it up and carefully opened its fragile pages. The handwriting was elegant, the ink faded. It was the master's diary. I began to read aloud, my voice echoing in the small, secret space. He was loyal till the end. My faithful Shiro, they didn't understand. They saw only the gold, the treasure he was trained to protect. They poisoned him for guarding it. His spirit won't rest until justice is done. Rafiq's eyes were wide with realization. Treasure. You mean someone killed the dog for gold? Before I could answer, a low, guttural growl filled the room, seeming to come from the very walls around us. It was a sound of profound pain and anger. The temperature plummeted, and our lantern flickered violently. Then, in the corner of the chamber, a form began to materialize. Translucent and shimmering, the ghostly figure of a large hound took shape, its eyes glowing with a piercing white light. The chains around its spectral neck rattled with an unearthly clang. The hound, Shiro, fixed its gaze on us, a silent protector even in death. Rafiq froze, but I felt no fear, only a deep, overwhelming sense of empathy. I slowly raised my hand, not in defense, but in a gesture of peace. Shiro, I said softly, my voice filled with a reverence I rarely used. You were a good boy. You protected him, even in death. You've done your duty. You can rest now. The ghostly dog held my gaze for a long moment. The angry light in its eyes softened, replaced by a look of understanding, of release. It let out a soft whine, then turned and dematerialized into a trail of fading blue light. The heavy chains that had been wrapped around its bones fell to the ground with a final, metallic thud, their purpose served. The room was silent once more. Tears welled in Rafiq's eyes. He looked at the fallen chains, then at me. Sir, it wasn't haunting the villa, he said, his voice thick with emotion. It was guarding it. All this time, he was right. Shiro wasn't a curse. He was a guardian, a testament to unwavering loyalty. As the first light of dawn filtered through the broken windows, we left Bhaskar Villa. The oppressive atmosphere had lifted, replaced by a sense of peace. As we walked away, the old rusty gate swung slowly shut behind us, as if bidding us a final farewell. Some guardians never die. They simply wait in silence, protecting what's left of loyalty and love. As our car pulled away, a faint, distant bark echoed through the morning mist, not menacing, but peaceful. And then there was only silence. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of Bhaskar Villa. If you love stories that explore the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have many more tales to tell. Until next time, stay curious.